for sale is second only to actually having a coin in your hand.
Okay.
So what our next presenter did over Zoom, it was over Zoom, wasn't it, Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah, he put together a program on coin photography, which was very exceptional. So by consensus of the people at hand, we wanted Dave to present his program to the entire club. So Dave, take it away.
Here, here.
Okay, well, I have improved this a little from my original presentation. I didn't know how nice this coin was until I got the lights on it. I didn't notice how nicely it was toned. But, okay, how do we... I don't know, how does it work? Which way? Oh, the top?
There we go.
Oh, there we go. Got it. Oh, well. Yeah, so coins in there. You mind if I sit down?
Go ahead, go ahead. That's why I gave it to you.
No, I have arthritis and it acts up if I stand too much. Coins in their uncirculated state, fresh from the mint, are many works of the sculptor's art. When I was a kid, those wartime steel cents, most of them were dark, rusty, and didn't care much about that. So, there's a few examples. Some older coin designs, mostly mercury dimes, and I think I found one barber quarter when I was a kid, and they were worn very smooth, but in their uncirculated state, they're really nice. And there's both types of the standing liberties. And there's the super bird on top there. You can see the little S on the eagle's breast. Nobody knows yet who actually did that. But it's only found on a 1952 proof. And commemorative half, walking liberty half. Most of the walking liberty halves I've ever seen when I was a kid were just worn almost completely smooth. And there's some gold. The Kennedy. Now I do. If you notice on the date on the Kennedy, 1964 to 2014, you see some glare or that little bit of lighting problem. It's very difficult to light proof coins. Okay. I'm sure everybody knows the difference between proof and uncirculated. This is the new Chris and McCullough coin, commemorative. That they just released it. They ran out, now they're back. So, I have to say I did find a proof Kennedy half in change at CVS. So, that was a couple of years ago, about 2 years ago. Okay, why should we photograph coins? Well, rare coins are too valuable to store at home. It's potentially dangerous. It attracts the wrong attention. That's why if you receive magazines, numismatic magazines, you need to remove the address label before you discard it. It also subjects to possible home invasions. You know, small safes are good, but big safes, they attract too much attention. Homeowners' renter's insurance have limited coverage on collectibles in case of burglary. They require separate policies to cover these items. And number 2, peace of mind. Keeping my rare coins in a safe deposit box means knowing my collection is relatively safe. And I can download pictures to my smartphone, tablet, laptop to show other people. I like to look at my coins so I can review my collection at home or anywhere at any time. The only thing about safe deposit boxes, they're less likely to be burglarized, and they are not insured. You can buy separate insurance policies if you want. Here we have a Flying Eagle cent on the side here. That's an MS-64. Oh, come on. Oh, there we go. Photo methods. Well, most people use a cell phone. I have too. You can get close-up attachments. Mine I just got a new one, and it does have a wide, a regular, and a moderate telephoto lens. Well, moderate telephoto. It'll zoom 100 times, but that's a digital zoom. So, flatbed scanner, very good to take pictures. And fixed lens, that was my first camera, was a fixed lens point and shoot camera, but it did have a macro setting. DSLRs or DSLTs with either full frame sensor, an APS-C sensor, or other size sensors, macro 4/3, and using either 50, 100, or other size macro lens. You may also copy images off the internet. It may or may not be your actual coin. A friend of mine buys a lot of coins off of eBay, and he just copies the picture and keeps it. Or you can put a camera on a tripod and aim downward at your coins. My tripod would fit between the corner of a table. I did it straight down, and that's how I did my first coin photography. And now I use a camera mounted on a copy stand. Now, cell phone mounted on a homemade copy stand. Now, Lindy here has a really nice one. It's all plexiglass, it's adjustable, goes up and down. I couldn't find my picture. She sent me a picture of it. I couldn't find it. I was going to put it in here. Or a USB camera. Those are nice, but they're usually for extreme close-ups. Sensor sizes, how are they different? The size of the camera sensor mainly determines the size of the print that can be produced from the image. There are different size sensors depending on the camera brand. Now, full frame sensor, that refers to the old 35mm film format. 35mm film measures 36 millimeters by 24 millimeters. And this is the size of a full frame sensor. These are usually found on a more expensive Pro-type digital single lens reflex or Pro-type digital single lens transparent mirror cameras. They deliver less noise when used at high ISO ranges, better performance at low light levels, better dynamic range, and smaller sensors. The larger the sensor, the more data that can be collected for your picture. And we have a proof shield nickel here. Now, Advanced Photo System Type C. Almost everybody believed that this size, 23.6 by 15.7 millimeters, was developed simply to be able to take more pictures on a roll of film. That's what everybody believed. That's not what the camera manufacturers wanted you to believe. It was derived from the 35mm format. I remember those cameras. They had a 35mm film loaded in a cartridge. And the camera manufacturers would tell you the cameras are typically smaller and less expensive. That was their big selling point. But everybody else knew that you could get 55 shots on a 36 exposure roll. So, another thing is there's also 1.5 times conversion factor for the lens. For example, a 50mm lens on a full frame camera becomes a 75mm lens on an APS-C camera. And then most digital APS-C cameras have fewer megapixels than full frame cameras. The Sony DSLT with the APS-C. Their highest one, I think, is right around 25 megapixels. Whereas the full frame, their current top-of-the-line full frame camera has 61 megapixels. So it's a little more. We've got a 1915 map-proof. I saw that and I said, wow, I never saw a map-proof, early map-proof. So I had to have it. Let's see. What is a macro lens? Well, that's a special lens that you can focus real close, and it'll focus down to a 1:1. So I have two macro lenses, a 50 and a 100. The two main differences are, if you're using a copy stand, the 50 will give you a wider field of view to take in the whole subject if you got a large picture. Or if you're photographing live photos, like bees or wasps, 100 macro lens give you the longer working distance while achieving a 1:1 ratio. With a longer working distance, you have less chance of disturbing potentially dangerous critters. Now, you don't have to worry about honeybees. You can go right up next to them, and they don't care, as long as you don't touch them. If you touch them, they get mad. So you don't have to worry about that. But still, you have a decent working distance with a longer lens. Now, image quality. Now, how many megapixels do you need? I cropped all of these using Photoshop Elements 218. So this was made with my first digital camera. It was a point and shoot. It had a fixed zoom lens on it. You couldn't remove it. It was not a DSLR or DSLT. And it was 8 megapixels. So you zoom all the way out and then turn it to the macro setting. And this is what you get. This is a proof Lincoln sent. And at the time I was using 500 watt photo floods, so you can see they reflect the glare in the scent. And it's a proof. They do present problems. But here I just cropped the date, so you can see it's a little blurry. And let's see, image quality goes up with a 16 megapixel DSLT with an APS-C sensor, the 100 millimeter macro lens. So you get a bit more detail than the 8 megapixel. It's still a little fuzzy, but you get a little more detail with it. And full frame sensor. These images are made by a 42.4 megapixel DSLT camera with a full frame sensor, 100 millimeter macro lens. It produces much more data and much more detail than the previous picture. You can see the actual roundedness of the date. So that's a pretty good detail in it. And a Samsung cell phone camera. This was made with my older cell phone. It has died. It's a 7.32 megapixel camera. Now I said it's almost got the same amount of detail, but it doesn't, because the 8 megapixel camera was a picture of a 1 cent coin. So it's a smaller coin. And you can see the date is not quite there. It's fuzzy. So let's see. Special camera. I like this one. It's only 5 megapixels, and the stand was not included. So I bought it on Amazon for 40 bucks. The stand that came with it was ridiculous. It wouldn't even hold up the camera. The camera stand that it's on was also on Amazon for 30 bucks. And the nice thing about that stand is it has an XY axis. So you turn one knob, it goes side to side. You turn the other knob, it goes up and down. So you don't have to touch your subject once it's on the stand. So this is a great camera for showing minute details. This is the lowest setting. It goes from 50 to 500. This is on 50 power. So this is an 1864 Indian headset with the L on the address. You can see the L. This is the snow tube variety, and that's noted for machine doubling on the writing, on the lettering on the obverse. And this has a rotated date. You can see I couldn't even get the whole date in. The 4 is completely normal. But the 6, you can see a little bit of doubling. 8, you can see not doubling, rotating. The 8, more rotation, and the 1 has the most rotation. And flatbed scanners. These are another way to make quality pictures of your coins. Now the higher end scanners have a larger range of colors. They have different, they have more channels than a basic entry-level scanner. This is the scanner I use. It can scan up to 12,000 dots per inch if you want. It takes a long time to scan something in at 12,000 dpr. And it creates a very large file. It also has adapters to copy negatives and transparencies, because you have to shine a light through in order to put that image on the scanner bed. They're very effective at scanning groups of related coins, such as this proof set. It's a nice looking little proof set. Now, some coins prove to be difficult to photograph properly. I have tried my darndest. The coin on the left, I put white backgrounds, I put neutral gray backgrounds, I've adjusted the light, and that's the best I can get. But I put it on a flatbed scanner, and the coin on the right, if you're holding it in your hand, it would look exactly like that. So yeah, some coins are difficult to photograph. And the scanner is also handy in other types of documents, such as stamps, legal documents, etc. After World War II, my dad was stationed at Cocosolo Naval Air Station at the Panama Canal, where I was born there. And these are the stamps that my parents used to correspond with family and friends. I found them in my dad's desk after he passed away. So interesting, postage stamps. The 4 on the top left are, they were stuck to, I think, the ones on the bottom. And I tried to take them apart as best I can. I damaged that one on the bottom right. But, and in the process, the one on the bottom left broke away. So, but they're nice. They're interesting to look at, to have. 6 cents for airmail from Panama all the way up to most of my mother's family was in Chicago. So that was a decent airmail price. Lighting. You get all kinds of light with digital cameras. Room light, macro ring light if you have one, LED lights, that's what I use. Complex fluorescence, sunlight, open shade. And most of the lights are okay since you can do a white balance measurement on your camera, which will correct the color temperature. The only light source I would not recommend is sunlight. It's way too harsh, especially on proof coins. Now back in 1855, 1856, they were having the same problem with the 1 cent coin. That was about the size of a quarter, and it was 100% copper, and it was too expensive. It cost more to make than it was worth. Or that was, it's 1 cent. It costs more than 1 cent to make. And now you see on the right, it's the same coin. It's a proof Roosevelt dime. The top is room light. You can see in the frosting, it's a little bit grayer. You turn on the LED lights, and of course it comes out nice and white. It should be white, but if I had done a white balance, it would have come out white. Photo editing software. Taking the picture is only the first step in producing a photo of your coin. The image needs to be cropped. Extraneous stuff around the periphery. You've got to delete that. Only if you want to. The image also might need to be resized to fit whatever you're going to view it on. Now, raw image conversion software comes with a camera when you buy it, because you can't see a raw image. You can't convert it in your brain. So it will take the raw image, turn it into a JPEG file so you can see it. But now, I think as of 2018, maybe before, Photoshop Elements now able to read the raw image files, so you don't even need the conversion software anymore. And printers. Most color inkjet printers will produce acceptable prints using photo paper. For example, the Epson XP830 Expression Premium. That's one of my printers. Relatively inexpensive. I think it was only 70 bucks. It's got 5 printer cartridges. Now the next one, the inkjet printer with photo as part of the name, produces the best pictures. For example, Epson Stylus Photo R3000. I have one of those too. It's a wide carriage. It has 9 printer cartridges. It's got 4 blacks. It's got matte black, black, light black, and light black. Why don't they just call it gray and light gray?
Yeah.
And color laser printers, I've only used those at work, and they print out graphs fine, but I don't know about photos. And we've got a couple of nice coins. That's the Kennedy. They called that a map proof when they first came out, and we sent it in for grading. It'll come back SP. This is special. Then we got a peace dollar, high relief peace dollar. Okay, this is my normal routine. Now that's the copy stand I use. Those wings, the lights are on, go up and down. Anyway, the bars come out, they come back and forth. So you can light your subject practically any way you want. The LEDs the bulbs are balanced for 3400 Kelvin. Mike's camera has these. They no longer make the photo floods, which I'm glad for, because those photo floods were extremely hot. And these LEDs, you can touch them. They don't put out heat at all. So I've got the camera mounted on the camera, with the macro lens pointing down. Now I copied the whole image, the whole coin and holder with a third-party grading, because I want to catch the serial number also. And general notes. Raw coins usually photograph better than third-party graded coins. You're not shooting through plastic as you do with a third-party graded coin. They come out really nice. And of course, we know the third-party grading eliminates any arguments between dealers about the condition of the coin they're trying to sell the coin. So if your camera has image stabilization, either the camera or the lens, you need to turn it off. Now the image stabilization anticipates you to make some shape. And if you mount it on a tripod or a copy stand, that's eliminating your shake, but it actually puts some shake on it. So Sony calls their steady shot, and you turn it off on the menu. Now I already told you I didn't photograph the Seated Liberty half, but I did photograph the proof single Silver Eagle. So it comes out pretty good when they're raw. Okay, this is photographic process. My first step is to rotate the view screen. I tell you, it was so much easier with those view screens, because I used to have to stand on a little step stool and look straight down the viewfinder when I was using a film camera. And that's my camera. It's a Sony A99 Mark II with 42.4 megapixels and a 100 millimeter lens. Of course, the new Sony right now is 61 megapixels, even more detail. Now, copy stands on desk and unused exercise equipment are magnets for miscellaneous junk. Believe it or not, there's a Canon on that desk. It's backed by it's about, oh, that long. It's one of those carbide Canons. And let's see. The camera's raised, the entire entire holder, if third-party graded, is within the camera frame. This way I can capture the coin serial number in case the coin is stolen. I take pictures of both the obverse heads and the reverse tails. And here we go. The next step, I lower it to just capture the coin itself. And again, I do both sides. We have a platinum coin on the side here. That was, they had a program where all the reverses were different every year. With the actual photography over, I remove the memory card from the camera, insert it into a card reader, and download the images to a folder labeled with today's date on my desktop computer. Now I can start making the images the way I want. When you reinsert the memory card in the camera, you should reformat the memory card. This will clean up any bad spots you might have on that memory card. I had a memory card go bad on me. And fortunately, the only images on there were ones I had already downloaded. So I got a couple of CC dollars here. One's from the Redfield Horde. Okay, first step in processing the image is to import the raw camera file into Photoshop Elements. The converter screen is displayed, and now each of those sliders on those lines, those are sliders, and you can change the image before you actually convert it. But I just click on Open Image, and that's what it looks like on Photoshop Elements. And the next thing I do is I crop it and get rid of the extraneous stuff in the back, or on the sides and edges. And crop to full view, correct color and brightness, contrast, and then adjust the image size. And I don't know why I didn't straighten out that image on the left. I did on the right. I don't know why I didn't do it on the left. But it's very easy to do in Photoshop. And let's see, I do the same for the cropped image. This is a coin I got from Larry. And then the final step is producing a picture for my album. I also keep an album. And you note I have 4 images in the photo bin on the left. And the default is individual image. If you drop down the arrow, you also have picture package. As soon as I click on the picture package, then the Photoshop Organizer app appears. And this is the Photoshop app, the Organizer, and it shows you how it lays it out. Now you can drag and drop those in any sequence you want, but that's how I like to see them. And you just click print, and you got your picture. And then I go ahead and put a little sticker on the photo that has a worksheet, inventory prefix, and a sequential number for this entry. That way the photo is linked to my Excel spreadsheet containing all the information for that coin. It's good to have that information. I refer to it a lot. Some additional images. On the bottom you can barely, under the bottom of the 7, you can barely see an arc, which is a remnant of the 6. And then the O over CC, you can see the CCs. And then this coin on the right, I got from Mr. Gallegos over here. It's the Mint's first and so far only bimetallic coin. The outer rim is gold and the inner coin is platinum. Beautiful little coin. Now, when back in the early 70s, when President Roosevelt's ban on owning gold coins was repealed, my dad went out and bought the $20 gold piece and the $5 gold piece. Paid $70 for the gold piece, the $20 gold piece. The middle one is commemorative bald eagle. And here's a few others. That's a micro S variety on the bottom, 3-cent nickel, and you got a horizontal S over the regular S over the horizontal S. And what else do we got? I think it's okay. We got a barber proof, 34 Washington with a medium motto. They have a regular motto, a medium motto, and a large motto. That's the in God. That's the thickness of the in God we trust. That's a medium motto. And that's it. All right. Anybody have any questions?
Just an addition of knowledge, you show the canal zone stamps. And surprisingly, there is a dedicated group that's been around for 70 years that's called the Canal Zone Study Group.
Oh, really?
And they get fanatic about those canal zone stamps.
Oh.
There's also another group called the United States Philatelic Possession Philatelic Society, and they get involved in any stamps that we've had in other countries, and they are fanatics. They get down to everything, and that 6-cent bottom of the canal cut, I can't think of the name of it, it's got errors on it left and right.
Okay, yeah, Bill?
You showed that expensive-looking flatbed scanner.
Yeah.
For those of us who have, say, a multifunction machine with a scanner bed,
Yeah.
would that work for this?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, that printer I have, that also acts as a scanner. It can scan or it can print. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really impressive, Dave. Do you
Oh, thanks.
own all of those coins?
Yes.
Over how long did you?
Well, most of those I bought since 2007.
Whoa!
Because 2007, I got rid of everything I had before.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to put solar on my house.
That was really impressive.
Thank you.
Here,
Any more? Okay, I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Was the platinum and gold coin an error or something?
No, that was a commemorative coin in 2000, and that was the first bimetallic coin that the mint ever made. Yeah, it's a regular issue. That was an uncirculated, and they sold only a little over 6,000 of those. And the proofs, they sold 32,000. So the uncirculated ones are much more expensive than the proofs. Anybody else? Okay, yes.
Yes, Dave, so for the average person who doesn't have all of the extra stuff, what would you suggest for taking any pictures of your coins?
Well, like I said, you can use a cell phone,
Okay.
or if you have a flatbed scanner, it doesn't have to be an expensive flatbed scanner. It can be one on a printer. Just put it on there and scan it. So
So it's just a matter of trying different light sources to see what?
Well, the scanner has its own light source.
Yeah, I mean, in that,
Yeah.
but I mean, as far as using it like the cell phone.
Yes,
Different
well-
things.
Like I say, Mike's camera has bulbs specifically balanced for interior,
Okay.
and they're LEDs, so they're about $20 a piece, so,
Okay.
but that's a good, it doesn't have to be real bright. You know, it just has to be at the right angle. Yes,
So that bimetal coin, how do they mint that?
I don't know.
Do they make the indent first?
No, I think they made it all at once.
Huh?
I would think they made it all at once.
Yeah, how can you do that?
Well, you put the two flanges together, stamp it. I guess.
That's another story. That's
Yeah.
Google it.
We're not at liberty to say.
Think about it.
That's the secret.
Well, I know, yeah,
Lots of countries.
because they do have to kind of weld together.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was gonna say, don't ever try to handhold
No,
taking a picture of a coin.
no, I wish I could find that picture you sent me of yours.
I'll send it again.
It's great. Two
Yeah.
pieces of plexiglass and you got four bolts
Yeah,
and it's
You have to pour
adjustable.
one first and then
yeah.
It's
I
great.
haven't needed to adjust it, but it's really.
Yeah, well, once you adjust it, you shouldn't have to again, yeah. Okay, anybody else? We got a lot of tickets, a lot of nice stuff, so if you haven't bought tickets, please buy them.
That was great. Now, let's break for everyone, and then 15 minutes we'll come back. So but go ahead and come over, look at this, buy some coins, or just talk to everyone.